Hello my loves, it's Ghoul and today we're going to be doing a festive build as it is now December and I am so excited to show you what I've been working on. This is a Christmas square build and it is our biggest, so there will be a second part coming super shortly. I just thought, why not do a big build? We haven't done a big one in a while, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to do something a little different and just challenge myself a little. I do go in here with double speed. This did take me half an hour in real time. I do love the fact that we are able to just speed it up because I wish I could build that fast in real life. I do and and count out every block because I really did plan this out and I didn't plan for how long the build was. I thought the actual lot itself was longer. Going back in, I'll make the houses a little smaller by a couple squares, so I might do that for part 2. As you can see, I procrastinate a lot with this build, but generally it is one of my favourites. I think it comes together super quickly, the base anyway, and yeah, I'm really loving it. So as you can see, I do make some little buildings on either side of the build. I wanted to kind of have some stalls, maybe like a little hot chocolate place, something like that to add to the vibe a little. And I'm unsure if I'm going to keep some of it for part 2 instead of just going with my original build, which is just a really cute street, like festive kind of street. And I do think that I should have, do you know what, I should get an counter because I'm doing it again. I do think I should go in and make those houses a little bit smaller so we're not all jumbled up, especially as we do have length in the top. We have 2 floors of the houses, so I definitely think in part 2 we could focus on doing that a little more. I do like the idea of just having several little stalls, but I don't know how I feel about it. You guys know me and you know that I procrastinate, so we will definitely see for part 2. I wanted to include like some toilets, maybe like a little festive gift shop, a hot chocolate stall, that kind of thing, so definitely look out for those in part 2. There is the houses are based on like old Quality Street advert where it was all the, and like things like Bridgerton and things like that where the houses are all very tall and connected together. I love that idea of just a cozy kind of street. I don't know how else to put it. Like if you know, you know. So yeah, so I wanted to go in with only 3 or 4 colours of the palette, which you'll see later, and they are obviously red and green and white, and I do include some bits of like gold and silver things as well, just because the holiday pack allowed me to do so. As you can see, it's taken shape, you know, pretty well. I do like, again, I always forget to put the lights on. I always forget to build in the afternoon. But yeah, as you can see, I do kind of mess around with how I want everything to be placed. And of course, it would not be a carry build without any terrain, so I go in and put that in as well. I'm thinking of building something really cool next to the other build as well. It's kind of, I don't know, maybe part 3? So yeah, I wanted to add some terrain in because I figured why not close up some of the gap and make it look a little bit more natural than, you know, just a square lot with some houses chucked in on it. I do faff a little bit with how much I do, but you guys know that already. I just wanted to include something sparkly and festive, and I knew that in the end those trees weren't going to be there forever, but I wanted to kind of just map out where I was going next. And then I go in here with my hedges just because I wanted to again close that gap a little and make it kind of look a bit more, I don't know, put together maybe is the word. So yeah, so I always like to do them instead of like walls and fences just because I like how natural it looks. And here is where I start second guessing the amount of buildings I've got on the lot, so I definitely just fiddle around with the terrain until I feel like it looks okay. You guys know me by now. So going on in with just like the plants and stuff, I always like to go in with stones, plants, and things like the lavender bushes and stuff like that because I really like how it looks. It's definitely a signature of mine, and honestly it just kind of breaks up the grass a little bit, so I absolutely love that vibe. And of course I want to go in with some whites and some red flowers just to give it that little, I don't know, like it ties in the terrain with the rest of the housing, which you'll see in a bit. Cue a little sped up I'd say terrain montage right about here, because again I do so much terrain that I think I bore everybody. But yeah, so we go in and do that really quick, and of course here's where it starts to come together with the colours. I absolutely love the idea of having different colour roofs and stuff like that, especially like to do with Christmas. And although I haven't got snow, I love the idea that we can still make it look super cozy, and of course red and green are just the staple colours of Christmas. I did want some of the buildings to look a little different than the others, so I raised the houses, and to kind of give it that look that I mentioned earlier with like the whole, I'm going to have to put a link in, it's like an old Victorian street, things like Mary Poppins and things like that as well. I really just love the idea of having the four houses incredibly close, yet incredibly different as well. Obviously we do go with alternated colours, but there will be things outside of the house and inside the house that do make each one unique. And yeah, I definitely kind of like the fact that we were able to stay in that colour palette and just kind of, I don't know, for it to look really, really cool. So moving on to the very front of the build, I wanted to kind of create a little fountain area with some benches and things like that. I obviously got it very wrong and it was off to one side, so I do go in and correct it. Seeing it now, it really irritates me that I didn't even notice it at the beginning. But yeah, I wanted to go with kind of a square kind of look to it where you could sit and have a hot chocolate, or like if you guys have seen any of my videos by now, you know that I like to create little scenarios with my Sims, and I just love the idea of just, I don't know, having a little festive street and you can go and have hot chocolate and just, you know, feel the season, I guess. So yeah, so I do go in several times with several different tiles, which is why it is edited the way it is. But ultimately I do love the red brick. I just wish I could have maybe made it a little bit like more like if it's in with the houses a little bit more, but overall I do love it. Here is me struggling to remember how to do a fountain, as I haven't done one in forever. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of create like a meet area maybe. You guys have all seen those Hallmark movies where, you know, boy meets girl and vice versa, and I kind of wanted to create that little moment here. I am a sucker for those films, and I probably shouldn't be, but I am. You guys know what it's like. Especially films like, I don't know, Love Actually and all of that. I just love the festive vibe. So yeah, I do go in and type in a fountain and try and sort that out this way, and instead I should have just gone with the outdoor kind of thing first. As you can see, I do love how it turned out. It's very cute. I do like it. I should have put the lights on the other way around, kind of more at an angle, so you could put the benches in where the lights are now. But again, you know, I procrastinate too much anyway, and I just thought I'll just keep going and see how we like it at the end. I do like the fact that it adds a little focal point, and maybe, I don't know, maybe next time I would go with like a circular a circular kind of area, but for now the square is what we went with. And I could not decide on what terrain I wanted. I really just didn't want it to look like plastic, so I did go in and add some bits and then completely take it out and change my mind because, you know, it's me. I didn't like the fact that how green it all looked. I really didn't want it to look, you know, grassy in the slightest. I did go in and change my mind a bunch of times because, again, this is me. So yeah, I do go and add some more terrain in, thinking that having the lighter colour floor would fix the problem, but overall I still wasn't too keen on it, and I just couldn't figure out why I wasn't overly happy, but I kept on building anyway because I just thought it was me being, you know, the fussy person that I absolutely am. So yeah, so I do go in with these very basic benches because, again, I just wanted to create that little meet cute little area. You guys know what I'm like by now. And I do love the fact that it's kind of at an angle. Normally I would try and go the other way around, so it's kind of more like a compass, with north, east, south and west kind of vibe, but I do like the fact that it's a little off perfect this time around. So I really couldn't get it out of my mind that I didn't really have the right colour floor, so I do go in with the red, and I do actually prefer it. I like the idea that it's slightly different to the square, but it does tie in with the rest of the build. And of course I had to go in and just add all the little extras in while I remembered, and just basically add the roof trims and things like that that really make the build a little bit more, I want to say polished, but my builds are never polished, but you know, you get the idea by now. And this is what I mentioned earlier, I did think there was too many buildings on my block, so I do add in a set of toilets, which I kind of like. I kind of like the idea. I like the idea of it. I think it's super cute. So going on in with the... I paused a bit here actually because I wasn't sure of what I was doing, so I kind of took a screenshot, kind of, you know, I process things after I edit them all the time. So yeah, so I do go in here and kind of want to add some basic bits in before we wrap up, which is like windows and doors and things like that. So we've got something a bit more substantial to work with for part 2. I love the fact that we were able to get so many green and red doors in, and yeah, it really solidified the build for me. I'm talking in my head and narrating this to the kids while I'm doing this, so it really helps when I come at a later date and I think actually I do remember saying that, because this girl's got brain fog and you know it's awful. So I wanted to include, you know me by now, you know I wanted to include as many windows as possible, that way I can get rid of them during my build. But already I think it really starts to take shape, and I absolutely think it looks, I don't think it looks really good for a very basic part 1. I want to add in a few loads of bits for the part 2, which I'm really excited about, but overall I think I had to stop relatively soon after this, otherwise I would have kept going and this would have been like an hour-long build. But yeah, you can't like deny that it's a bit festive. So here I'm just adding in all the little details before we kind of wrap it up. I do go in with some smaller windows. I think it's really cute to add something to that roof layer. Even though I may take them out and add some snowflakes and bits in for part 2, I like the idea of having them placed there now, so just in case, you know what I'm like with windows with The Sims by now, and if we don't, I put them everywhere so I can always feel free to take them out afterwards. I wasn't too sure on building like a little cafe bit, so I went in with Christmas trees instead, and just kind of mapping out where I wanted each decoration to go for next time. I do think the Christmas trees definitely help add to, you know, add the festive vibe, which is what we want. And of course I'm going in with some snowmen, and if you followed my candy cane build from last year, you know that I always include the snowmen in any festive build I'm doing, including this one I'm working on for next week, which is our revisited candy cane build. And that's it for us today, so thank you so much for watching. Catch us next time for our candy cane build, but honestly, just take care, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.